Hello friends, welcome to lesson 2 of building our starter kit. So in this lesson, we are going to first connect SvelteKit to nhost using nhost-js-sdk. So basically nhost has provided SDK for us to interact with the backend. Then we are going to create a user registration form and register our users. And finally, we're going to run nhost locally and do the same thing again. Okay, so first connecting SvelteKit to nhost, we need the nhost.js SDK. So let's copy this and install it. Here, install JS SDK. Next, we need to create a nhost client. So I'm going to copy this code from here and create a utils directory and a nhost file, yes, and paste it here. Okay, so what it's doing is it's importing nhost.js and the create client, and from the create client we have the nhost client, and we have two things from the nhost client. We get the auth and the storage. So for authentication stuff like auth.register function, auth.login function comes from here, and storage functions come from here. So we export those two things. That's what this file does. Okay, so this needs a base URL. So this is a default base URL, but we need to give it our own base URL. So to get that, go to our console, and here it is, the backend auth and storage URL. Let's copy that and put it here. All right. Okay, now we need to create a form so that we can register a user. So let's open this and keep it here and check our users table. Okay, so right now there is no users. We are going to insert one here soon. First, for the form, I'm going to create a route called register.svelte. See how easy this is, yeah, to create a form. First, let's create the form. Obviously, I'm going to label name. We can have a name and an input field. Text is the name, and let's duplicate this for the email and the password. And finally, we'll have a type submit. We can have a button as well. Let's make it a button. Type submit, and register is the label for the button. Cool. We'll save that, and we'll change this to email. We'll change this to password. Okay, now we want Svelte to control this form. To do this, let's create variables. Let name is 1, email, and password. So we created 3 variables, and we are going to connect these variables to these fields. We do this by doing bind value and then the name. So variable, that's it. Now what we type in this input field will be represented by this variable. Simple. Okay, we'll do the same for email, and let's make the type to email as well. Finally, we'll do it for the password, and the type is password. Easy enough, right? Next, we are going to use the onSubmit function and call a function. So let's call this function register user, and let's create that function. Oops. Oh, the Vue.js developer in me always want to put the double quotations, but you have to do it like this with curly brackets. Okay, so let's create the function register user, and this function uses the auth export that we have and calls the auth.register function. So let's import nhost client here. So auth from utils nhost, and here let's do auth.register. Simple enough. We need to pass in the email, password, and for the name there's extra. So email and password is required. For extra fields that we have to previously register in our database or create in our database, we can use options and do user data and do the name of the key, name of the column, or in this case it's display name, because here we have users display name. So we have that here. So we can do user data display name and pass in the name. That is it. Okay, well, let's make sure that everything works. Let's get the data and console log it. Console log data. Okay, so now this will register a user in our live server. So we go here, we go to auth. There's no users here. Now let's try. Let's first go to the register page and do, okay, my name, password, everything is given. Let's register. Oh, it didn't work. I know what the problem is. It actually refreshed. That is because I didn't do prevent default. Here I will do prevent default so that the form doesn't refresh. Okay, let's try again. Okay, close, register. Nice, we get the data back. That means this ran. Okay, so let's check our user. There he is. Beautiful. And also in the data we can check, give it a refresh and check the user. As you can see, the display name is there, the avatar URL we didn't provide, and there is a link to this account. And in this account you can see the rest of the details, the email, and it says active true. We can make it false by default, but let's make the user active just when he registers. So these values are in the auth table. Okay, so if sorry, not the table, auth schema or the database. So if you go here, accounts, you can see there the IDs. So here in public schema database, you can see the rest of it. Okay, so now we have connected our SvelteKit app with nhost using the nhost-js-sdk. We have used nhost-js-sdk's auth and register function to register a user. Now let's do all of this in the local environment, because right now we are sending it to the live environment. Here we are sending it to the live environment. Okay, so for this, easy enough. Let's open our terminal. Let's clear and do nhost dev. This is actually the only thing we need to do to run nhost locally. So nhost dev will pull up some images. I will show you the images in Docker dashboard. So it uses Postgres. So it pulls the Postgres image, Hasura graphical engine image, and Hasura backend plus, which provides the authentication and the storage, and also an image to store the file, which is right now they are using Minio, but I believe all of this will be moved to AWS, so we will be using S3. And yeah, okay, that's it. So it creates containers and it is running on these ports. You can see that in the command line as well. See the graphical API, auth storage API. So to connect to the localhost environment, I am going to, in our nhost SDK, nhost client, I'm going to replace this with the localhost 9001. so that we can create another user in our local environment. So everything should work fine. So this is the local Hasura client. Okay, so I'm going to close the online stuff and we are running locally. Okay, so let's give this a refresh and let's create another user. John Doe is the name, and then I'm going to use John, same password, register. Cool. Yes, and let's check it out here. Yes, everything works fine. That's it. So we did all three of our tasks. For this lesson, let's complete this. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next one.